Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry I'm late. Sorry. I was getting my flights and stuff straight. Good morning. Wade Wilson's trial is not going to start till 11. So, his sentencing starts at 2 o'clock. Okay. Right now, Wade Wilson is in court for a Spencer hearing. Hold on, let me say good morning to everybody. And I don't know why they're not showing that. Good morning, Mr. Jimenez. Good morning. Good morning, Mari. Dirty bitch. Good morning. Good morning, Crafting with Amanda, Big Bad Wolf. Um, Miss Sweet Tooth J, Wisco Gal. Marsha E. Cree. Who's that girl? Oh my God, I miss you. Hi, baby. Good morning. So, yes, so Wade Wilson is in court today for his sentence. Now, remember, the jury recommended the death penalty. So now he's going to go before the judge and he's going to decide. But what they're doing this morning, good morning, James Simpson. He went into court at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Good morning, Renee. And he's in court for a Spencer hearing. And with a Spencer hearing, you know, they're going to discuss Wade's treatment of his mental health disease, talking about that he was normal until like the age of 11. He had a head injury in Tallahassee when he was in a passenger in a car. They're going to talk about his other injury he received at a beach. So all of this is going to be a factor in the judge deciding. To me, that's no excuses. This man killed 2 women in less than 24 hours. Christine Milton and Diane Ruiz. Yeah, it's Diane. Okay, well, I wanted to say Diana. We've heard him on the phone bragging. Hi, Minnie 560. Deborah Best, good morning. We've heard, hi, Bambi. I'm sorry, sweetie. Good morning. Yes, Wade Wilson. We've heard him on the phone bragging about him killing these women. We heard him on the phone talking to his dad with some of the conversations. I don't think the judge, I'll be surprised if they give him life in prison. Okay. His sentencing is set to begin at 2 p.m. Hi, Dusty Rusty. It's going to be 11 o'clock for me. I'm going to try to I'm almost done. Good morning, PMR. So I'm going to set it for 11. I see that E11 is going live at 12, but I really wanted to do his sentencing hearing. So it shouldn't take that long. They're normally about, all of this is being done now, the Spencer hearing. We shouldn't take that long, but I'm going to set it for 11 o'clock. Okay. You were heartbroken. Hi, why, sweetie? Oh my goodness. So we're going to see about that. But he is right now, I don't know if they're still in court. It was 6 o'clock my time. But he was in for a Spencer hearing. And that's when everything is put on the table. So they can hear everything before he imposes a death sentence. During the hearing, there was a neurologist there, and he testified that he had signs of brain trauma following an MRI scan. Okay, lots of people have brain trauma. Not saying lots, but there's a percentage that don't go around killing women. Okay, so wait, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Good morning, Sarah motherfucking Z. So I also wanted to bring you an update on the deputy that shot and killed the U.S. airman in Florida. So let me get you this real quick so I can get myself together. I wasn't going to do a live, but all of this just started happening this morning. Nope, it's not an excuse for M. None. So here we go with this one.
This morning, the former Florida deputy who shot and killed U.S. senior airman Roger Fortson.
Every time I see that photo, I think of my grandson. Good morning, Danny. Every time I see that photo of that young man, I think of my grandson in his Air Force uniform. They're at the same age. I'm looking at my other son in his Air Force uniform, but this one really reminds me of my grandson. So I can't stand this.
Now charged with manslaughter with a firearm. The Florida state attorney issuing a warrant for former Deputy Eddie Duran, who was fired from the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department after their investigation found his use of force was not objectively reasonable. According to court documents, prosecutors alleged Duran acted with culpable negligence when he gunned down Fortson inside his Fort Walton Beach home on May 3rd.
Yeah, okay, it's 2 o'clock for you, but it's 12 o'clock for me. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back and look. E11 is Eastern, okay? So whatever time, so she's probably going to go live at 3. But it's 12 for me because I looked. So it's 12 o'clock for me.
Body camera video showing that disturbing incident. Duran showing up at Fortson's apartment after getting a call about a domestic disturbance.
Sheriff's office, open the door!
Fortson opens up the door with a gun in hand, but it's pointed down and not at the deputy. Yet seconds later, Duran fires several shots.
Sorry, I meant to cut
Fortson
that off.
in the chest and arm. Fortson later dying at the hospital. For months, Fortson's family had been calling on
Oh, it's 11 o'clock for me. Shit. She goes live at 11. So it's the same time that I would need to go live for Wade. No, I go live at 10 for Wade then. Oh, I'll figure out the time. Don't worry about it.
Prosecutors to bring charges against former Deputy Duran.
Tell the truth about my son. I know my son did not do anything to you guys.
And this morning, civil rights attorney Ben Crump issuing a statement on behalf of the Fortson family, writing, "This decision marks the first step towards justice," adding, "Let this be a reminder to law enforcement officers everywhere that they swore a solemn oath to protect and defend, and their actions have consequences, especially when it results in the loss of life."
Okay, so.
And breaking news as we come on the air tonight, Rice University there.
Let me just stop this. Rice University had a death the first day of school. All classes have been canceled today. This is so sad.
And breaking news as we come on the air tonight, Rice University there, a student is dead after an apparent murder-suicide.
Police say it happened on campus this afternoon. So we want to get you live right now to ABC 13's Jessica Willey. She just got an update from investigators on who the victim is and how she may have died. Jess?
Yeah, Rice University identifies the victim as Andrea Rodriguez Avila. They believe she was shot to death sometime today in her dorm room at Jones College, which is in the heart of the campus. Her guest walking in with her at some point before this happened. Police say the discovery so crushing, classes are canceled here tomorrow.
This is a speech that no president ever.
Rice University is in Houston, is not too far from the TSU campus, Texas Southern University campus, the main campus. They're basically right down the street from each other along, U of H, TSU, Rice University.
Everyone wants to make.
A heartbreaking discovery at Rice University this afternoon. A female student found shot to death in her dorm room. A young man also dead, police say, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He has not been named, but is not a student, the university says. The victim, junior Andrea Rodriguez Avila of Maryland.
We are communicating with Andrea's parents and are flying them out early tomorrow morning.
According to Rice University Police, Andrea missed her classes Monday and a family member could not reach her. The relative requested a welfare check at her Jones College room, and around 4:30 p.m., the couple was found along with a note believed written by the shooter. Police Chief Clemente Rodriguez says they had a dating relationship.
In general terms, it was a lot about their relationship, and then obviously they were having a troubled relationship at this time.
The discovery triggered a shelter in place. The university canceled classes through Tuesday and reminded students of counseling resources available now and in the future.
Tonight, I want all of our students, our parents, and the entire Rice community to know that the Rice campus is safe and there is no immediate threat. And tonight, we will wrap our arms around our students.
Jessica Willie, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
So that happened yesterday, and don't know if he lived in Houston or if he flew in from Maryland. I doubt if he flew in with a gun, though. So your daughter goes back to college, and this is what happens. Okay. Hate to say it that way, but that is what happened. But what I found, guys, oh, and by the way, the YSL trial is back on. If you guys want to watch it, it's on Fox Atlanta. Woody is still on the stand. They're bringing up his old testimony. That's when he used to go to court in a suit. But that's what's going on there. But what I found was this. And so we were all talking about Sonia Massey's killing by a cop, and she was having mental issues, right? So there was another woman that was shot and killed in her home. And this happened, I think it happened in San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. I need to find it. I just had it. Okay, it's at 1:30. Hold on. Let me get it. Okay, I have it. I want you to hear this. We're thinking that this is just, good morning, Zio, my sweetie. Yeah, he's going to be on the stand forever. What he basically said, he asked the judge, he goes, I have immunity, right? The judge said, yes. He said, so no matter what I say, it can't be held against me, right? The judge says, right. And this is the new judge, Page. And he says that they were shooting at, he just they can't hold anything against him. Woody has immunity for anything he's done in the past. And he's taken full advantage of that immunity. And I don't blame him. So here we go.
PD officers charged in the deadly shooting of a woman who was reportedly suffering a mental health episode. Former SAPD officers Eleazar Alejandro, Nathaniel Villalobos, and Alfred Flores' trial is set to start at the end of September. The shooting happened in June of last year when officers showed up to Melissa Perez's apartment complex on the south side after Perez was tinkering with her fire alarm, prompting an alert. We have footage of the officer jumping onto her patio, trying to get into her window. Police say Perez threw a hammer at her window and received a warning. When she threw it again, the officers opened fire, killing her.
Now, she threw a hammer at the window, not at the officer. They were outside of her patio. She threw a hammer at her window. They gave her a warning. She threw it again, and they killed her.
As his family says, she was having a schizophrenic episode and filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Here's what they told us last month.
I have a daughter now, so like having my daughter and hugging my daughter just makes me like emotional because I wish I could hug my mom. My mom deserves justice, and I won't stop until we get it.
Flores and Alejandro are charged with murder, while Villalobos is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Now, so Sonia Massey is not the only one, but she didn't throw anything. This woman threw something at her window. She received a warning. She threw it again. She's outside. They're outside. She's inside. Sonia Massey, fight like a girl. Sonia Massey. This happened in San Antonio. I don't even remember hearing about this case last year. Never heard about it. But they're going to trial. Good for them. All three of them. Manslaughter. And I have one more thing before I get out of here. I wasn't coming to stay long. Seriously. I just wanted to bring you up to date on some of the things that's going on. That's right now. That's going on in the news. I'm going to show you the Wade Wilson thing before I get out of here too. So because they explain it. I did explain it, but I want you to hear what the experts have to say on that. So let me just show you this one. Hold on.
Investigators are currently in Louisiana interrogating a man accused of killing his wife at their Fayetteville home. Investigators say they found his
wife. He's in Louisiana. He killed her in Fayetteville, and they caught him in Louisiana. And let's go.
His body partially burned and buried in a shallow grave. Fox 5's Eric Mock joins us from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office with details about this gruesome crime.
Fayette County Sheriff Barry Babb says in his almost 40 years of law enforcement experience, this is one of the more grisly crimes he's had to work. But thanks to quick work
and
coordination
hammer
with other agencies, they were able to catch this suspect, even though he'd fled all the way to Louisiana.
It's shocking as hell. Definitely seemed like something that would be on like a...
Look at this home. As we said, we never know what goes on in someone else's home. Beautiful property.
On one of those shows, I didn't expect that.
Jabril Muhammad says he would have never expected his neighbor, 39-year-old Kenneth Harden Jr., to be accused of something like this.
He seemed like a cool dude. Like I said, yeah, the fireworks show out here for the kids before the 4th of July.
Fayette County Sheriff Barry Babb says Harden shot and killed his wife, 39-year-old Carrie Harden, early Tuesday morning while his children slept.
So they went to school on Tuesday, never seen their mother.
The sheriff's office says it learned of the crime after Harden flew his father into town and gave him his last will and testament.
He had told his father that he had shot his wife and pretty much that he was now going to be on the run.
Harden's father called the sheriff's office, who began investigating. Babb says a license plate reader helped them track Harden's car to a motel in Louisiana. A SWAT team there moved to take him into custody while they searched the large property for his wife's body.
I got almost basically 2 calls at the same time that the cadaver dog located our victim, which was buried in a very shallow grave on the back part of the property. And at the same time that the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office took him into custody without incident.
Sheriff Babb says the body was partially burned. He says Fayette County investigators got on the first flight to Louisiana Thursday morning, where they've apparently had no trouble interviewing Harden.
He is completely cooperating to the point that I will tell you that Captain Lee, who has been an investigator at least 3 decades, said I've never had a homicide suspect want to tell us everything.
Sheriff Babb says so far the motive they've gathered from Harden was a late-night domestic dispute mixed with heavy drinking. Well, Sheriff Babb is also just breathing a huge sigh of relief because investigators have learned that Harden was, considering committing suicide by cop, and he was heavily armed. And of course, they're concerned after the recent shootings of law enforcement in both Paulding and Carroll County. But thankfully, Harden chose not to go through with that. Reporting in Fayette County, Eric Mock, Fox 5 News.
So he flew his dad in to tell him he killed his wife. Here's my last will and testament. They had an argument late night. They were drinking, and that led to you shooting her, burning her, and burying her. Damn. Damn. Okay, here we go with this one. I'm going to let you hear this one. That is weird. That is so weird. So Wade Wilson, hold on a second. Hold on, let me look. Okay, so they're just going. over the stuff that, so he's not in the courtroom yet. So hold on. Here is the Spencer trial that I was telling you about.
This morning, Wade Wilson, the convicted killer now famous for his facial tattoos, heads back to court today to learn whether he'll be sentenced to death per the jury's recommendation or life in prison. You're going to see it all here today on Court TV. Now, the jury deliberated, recommended death for him for the killings of these two women here, Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz. They are the victims
Okay, I did say her name right.
of Wade Wilson back in 2019. He murdered both of them. And while the jury recommended death, it's up to the judge to impose the sentence. And the judge could potentially impose a life sentence.
We, the jury, find by a vote of 9-3 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death.
9-3? Shit, it should have been 12.
Now, this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, the defense will be allowed to present the mitigating factors that they say they have that weigh against giving Wilson the death penalty. Likely to come up, the recent MRI that he had after the defense argued that he suffered a traumatic brain injury when he was younger. So let's talk about this. They called this a Spencer hearing happening today. What's this all about? Let's bring back in the Director of Prosecution Projects at Florida International University and former homicide prosecutor, Melba Pearson, and want to welcome in forensic neurologist, Dr. Jeff Steinberg. Melba, could you explain to us, please, what this...
Melba looks like my friend Odell. She looks like my really good friend Odell.
Spencer hearing is.
Yeah, so it's the opportunity for the defense and the prosecution to provide, on the defense side, mitigating evidence that would go towards why the defendant should not be put to death. And then on the state side, the aggravating evidence that shows that this rises to the level of heinous, atrocious, and cruel, and that the defendant should be put to death.
He should be put to death.
So it's basically a precursor to the actual sentencing when the judge is going to render their decision as to whether or not they're going to go with the jurors, their verdict and their recommendation of death, or if he's going to go with life because the mitigating factors were so persuasive. Again, the aspect about having a traumatic brain injury has come into play when we looked at the Aaron Hernandez case, the New England Patriots player who was convicted of murder. And then...
But they didn't find out he had traumatic brain injury until he died. Okay, that's when they found out about, what is it called? The thing the football players get, shit, I forgot. Traumatic brain injury, but it's another term for it. But they didn't find that out until he died. Okay, this man has no remorse. He cursed his father out. He's steady trying to suck other people's D's. Started talking to the ex-girlfriend again that he tried to strangle. They never arrested him for that. If they would have arrested him, these other two wouldn't have occurred. And that's the way I honestly feel. But they didn't arrest him. She had bite marks, she had strangulation marks, but they didn't do anything about it.
Afterwards, it was found that he did have severe concussions as a result of playing football for so long, which resulted in impulse control. Not that excused the murders, but it can explain. So that is how it can play into the judge's decision as to whether or not to go with life or death.
Melba, thank you for that. Okay, so all these factors going to focus on the law at hand and tipping the scales of justice, as we like to say on this show. Let's talk about the science now. Dr. Jeff Steinberg, the testing that was done on Wade Wilson, what could these brain tests potentially show?
Botox overload.
Well, the MRI, if it's done with the specific software, could show that he has features consistent with traumatic brain injury. There are other tests, like a neuropsychology test, shows his cognitive and psychological profile, which again would show what type of personality he has, and if there was any other...
The ex-girlfriend said everything changed when he started doing drugs. Okay, so are we going to blame the drugs for all of this too? Stop giving this man excuses. He deserves the death penalty, and I'm glad he's in Florida because Florida doesn't play along with Texas and a few other states. They don't play.
Neurological or psychological issues that could explain his behavior.
Okay, appreciate that, Dr. Jeff. Let's play a clip now from Dr. Hyman Einstein, a clinical psychologist who was a defense witness in the trial. Let's listen to a little bit of what he says about changes in Wade Wilson's behavior.
They found that there was a dramatic change that occurred in puberty. His mental health changed. His behavior changed. He became reclusive, paranoid, mood swings, very aberrant behavior. He would sometimes think that there are people aliens out to get him. Very concerned about the family, the parents, and he became very disruptive and very, very difficult to manage.
Did he start experimenting with controlled substances?
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Jeff, back to you. We know that there were some problems with Wade Wilson growing up, but what in these tests or testing that was done, I don't know if it was one test or multiple, I'm not quite sure. I guess we'll find out the particulars today, but what could this scan potentially do in terms of negating the criminal intent that he had? We know he took two women's lives really brutally. I mean, baiting them, making them think that he was a good person to be around. And
yeah, he asked this one woman for directions. Diane Ruiz asked her for directions, got her in the car and catered her, then ran over her and bragged about her looking like a spaghetti. This man has no remorse. Good morning, T-Love. Hi, Alan G. No remorse. So why the hell do we care about his brain injury? Get out of here. Oh, my God. He admitted it. This is when I believe in the death penalty. He admitted what he did. He sat in court with smirks on his face, had the tattoos put on his face while he's in prison, smirking at the family members. He has no remorse. None.
Blindsided them. Do you think there's anything in these tests, I guess the best way to say it, that could be redeeming for Wade Wilson?
Redeeming?
Well, the MRI in of itself does not exclude or determine a person's personality or behavior. The MRI just shows certain features that would suggest or indicate someone had a traumatic brain injury. Neuropsychology tests, which I'm not a forensic expert, but have dealt with this issue, can just tell someone's got personality, but then, again, doesn't say his behavior at that moment. He's just talking about the behavior in the past. And the other question would be, did he ever see a psychologist at that point in time?
No.
And was that ever documented at that point in time? So the tests by themselves do not indicate why a person would do such a crime at that moment in time.
Appreciate it, Dr. Jeff. Melba Pearson, let me go back to you, please. Let's just say that the tests, for the sake of our analysis, do show he did suffer some very traumatic brain injury as a child. As a prosecutor for so many years, would you be at all concerned if you were these prosecutors on this case that somehow the work of those attorneys and the jurors, could be undone with this test result?
Well, to be honest, you never know until, it ain't over until it's over, right? So there's always that possibility that the defense is going to come up with some mitigating circumstance. Usually we have what's called a pre-sentence investigation where a member of the court personnel will go out and do a full.
Does this man look remorseful? Does he look like he even cares that he took two women's lives? So he just didn't kill one. He waited till her friend left, killed her, stole her car, pretended to need directions, got this other woman in the car, and killed her. So one killing wasn't enough. That didn't feed you, or just it made your euphoria go up. You wanted to do it again and again and again. This is crazy. I don't care about his brain injury. I don't care about him acting out in school. If they didn't get him help then, you heard the way he spoke to his father. I don't care. He needs to be put to death.
Investigation, looking at the defendant's background, their life, talking to the next of kin, trying to understand what they view as justice, and put together a full packet that's provided to not only the court, but to the defense and prosecution. So when I was a prosecutor, I would always read that report very thoroughly, because some of the arguments the defense is going to use to try and mitigate whatever sentencing will likely come from that report. And of course, that coupled by any medical results could be something that the judge could hang their hat on. But again, you know, these are two very horrible murders. You had a pretty big margin in terms of 9-3 and for one victim and 10-2 for another victim in favor of death. So again, this is a lot to have to disregard.
He lured this mother, had her and her friend over at his friend's house. Sailor left, killed her, pretended he needed help, got her in the car. When she tried to get out, he strangled her, threw her out, and then ran over her. No remorse.
From the judge's perspective. So I'd be concerned as always, but I don't know that this would be a scenario where the defendant would end up with a life sentence in prison.
Appreciate all of those great points you both made.
Where the defendant would end up with a life sentence. Concerned as always, but I don't know that this would be a scenario where the defendant would end up with a life sentence in prison.
Okay, she's not seeing that he would end up with a life sentence in prison. Okay, I thought she said he could end up with a life sentence in prison. We don't know still. But also, something was sent to me this morning about Jeffrey Paschal. You guys know I covered Jeffrey even when he went to his trial. I discussed the women that he was cheating on Voria with, not only the fact that he was still married, was supposed to be engaged to someone else, but at that time he was talking to Shelby and another lady that was in the UK. Plus he had a girlfriend in Mexico. Was it Mexico? New Mexico, who was a twin. So I'm watching this YouTube channel that did like a background on him. When I did Jeffrey, I discussed the fact that he was stealing out at Home Depot. He was writing all these checks. He had gone to prison for drugs. Him and his dad were running all of these scams. So I am going to take a deeper look into that. But I know we discussed all of that when I did the trial for Jeffrey. He's such a great guy. PMR, I remember what you said about Jeffrey and how he was always flirting with you. So I am definitely going to listen to this again. But after all of this, it's just crazy. I told you about the fight he had with Mary, how they both ended up in jail. They got into a fight in the pub. Well, at a bar. She was on a date. He brought his date, who was a younger girl, and she was rubbing Mary the wrong way. Mary gave me the whole background on that. They got into a fight. She blackened Jeffrey's eyes. They were fighting, and they both wind up going to jail that night. I'm going to listen to what she said in case I missed anything, but I'm definitely going to look at that again. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys.
Appreciate all of those great points.
It wasn't you then. It must have been, no, PMR, it wasn't you. I think it was Mommy Says Bad Words. It was Mommy Says Bad Words. That's who it was. Mommy Says Bad Words. He used to flirt with her all the time.
Melba Pearson, Dr. Jeff Steinberg, thank you both for weighing in on this. We're going to see what happens shortly, 9 a.m. So, he's going to be back in court.
So let me, excuse me, let me get what I need to get done. I'm going to set this time. I'm going to go back to Court TV and see exactly when does this trial start. When I looked, it said 2. Which was going to make it 11 for me. 12, 1, 2. Yeah, it was going to make it 11 for me. Good morning, Missy Tessa. Oh, he sent you a few DMs too. Yes, he used to be on Homicide Hunter. Yes, he was an actor. He played a detective in these reenactments. He did like 2 or 3 of those, and then they fired him. Love you too, Terry. It was Mommy Says Bad Words. Mommy Says Bad Words. Because I remember, I thought it was you, PMR, but it was Mommy Says Bad Words. And when I watched him and Dom, when they went to Gatlinburg, and the way he was acting then, he was drunk as a skunk. And that's the night he slept with, I'm not going to call her name, but she wanted to sleep with him. She flew in because she wanted to get to know him. And then he slept with her. He was with Voria at the time. Matter of fact, Voria was there, but no one knew that. And then he dissed her. He wanted nothing to do with her. I watched this man with my own eyes. I remember he used to come on Dom Natty's and I couldn't stand him. And I remember him saying one time, he goes, yeah, Heidi doesn't like me because I always see her comments. No, I don't. You're a piece of shit. So we're going to see. No one sent me a DM. About what, Chantel? What do you mean no one sent you a DM about what? Oh, you mean Jeffrey never sent you a DM? He would look in the chat and look at women's pictures, and he would ask Dom to pull them up. I mean, you know, to actually pull up the profile. But again, this morning, Lisa was live begging again for money to go to the clinic. We already know that her dad takes her every morning, and she's still begging for money to get the dog. Okay, this woman will never change, ever, ever change. And people are still giving her money. And I'm going to say it again. It's going to get to the point where someone is going to be in some serious trouble, because if she happens to die, they're going to look at all of this. And the fact that her sister even said that she owed her dealer money, and she's probably not getting this stuff because she owes this man money. And I remember that night before they took her in, she said somebody was playing with her money and they know she can get killed up here. Okay, so you're watching it now. Okay. Nope, she's at her place. She went back to that drug-infested area along with the roaches and the other bugs that they needed a hazmat suit to go in to get the animals. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go and I'm going to set this live. I'm going to keep watching. I'm sorry. I'm going to butt heads with E11, but I said that I wanted to do this sentencing, and I've been up since 3, been trying to get stuff done. You know, this was a short week for me because I am traveling, so I'm almost done. So I love you guys. I will see you guys later. Let's hope and pray that this sentencing doesn't take a long time. I will definitely see you guys later on. Bye. Have a great, great day, guys. Bye.